Cornerstone. Happy Tuesday. I am so glad to be with you here in our last week of our 40 days of grace. This is where the rubber meets the road, where it really gets interesting. We're talking about application all week long. All through this series, we've been talking about the law a lot. People who follow rules, and of course the Judaism is all about rules. They have the 10 Commandments, and then rules to help them follow those rules, and then rules to help them follow those rules. It's almost like law bearers go crazy, go overboard with rules. It's the same thing with us as grace bearers. We're called to go overboard, to go too far all the time. It's almost like grace is going out of style, and we need to give it away as much as possible. If you think about what God did with Jesus, he went overboard with Jesus. He sent his own son to die on a cross for us. That's overboard. That's the definition of overboard. And as followers of Jesus, we're called to let this good news affect us to such an extent that it takes us to new places. You think about Peter in Acts chapter 10, he was called to do something that was definitely outside of his comfort zone. He had a dream about a Gentile, a Roman named Cornelius, who was a military officer, and God was calling him to go there, but God knew that he would have trouble going to Cornelius' house because he's a Gentile, and Jews and Gentiles just didn't mix. And so God gave him a vision of all these unclean animals, because it was against the rules to eat all these animals that were deemed unclean. Things like bacon. I mean, come on now, bacon is definitely awesome, but for Peter, it was definitely not. And so there's this vision of a sheep coming down from heaven with all of these unclean animals, and Peter is instructed by God to go and eat. And Peter feels definitely uncomfortable with this, but God, through the dream, is revealing to him that God wants to do great things in Gentiles as well. So Peter ended up going grudgingly at first to Cornelius' household, told them the message of the gospel, and Cornelius and his entire home converted and began to follow the teachings of Jesus. They were all baptized in water and filled with the Spirit. Great, amazing things happened because Peter was willing to go overboard. I wonder today, what is God calling you to do? To go to a place where you wouldn't normally go, or to talk to a person you wouldn't normally talk to, or even to have a conversation about faith and about Jesus, about your story. What is God calling you to do? As you go through the 2 Corinthians 5, verse 11 to 6, verse 2, don't forget, we're memorizing it this week. I want to challenge you to be thinking about what God is calling you to do and what he's calling you to do a little bit overboard today. Think about that. Write something down. Get it on paper. Make it part of your prayer today. God bless you today, Cornerstone. We love you.